Hey guys, welcome back to Shine with Jessie. It's super exciting to be starting again with you guys. So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, in that we are now going to be doing series. So, uh, like planned lessons that, I mean, all the lessons are planned, but lessons uh, that are all part of the same theme. And so the first series theme is going to be the Lord's Prayer. So we're going to be learning over the next few weeks all about the Lord's Prayer. So if you don't know what the Lord's Prayer is, I'm going to say it right now for you. Um, it goes like this, and then today we'll get into the background of the Lord's Prayer. But the actual Lord's Prayer is, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So that's the Lord's Prayer. So, as the first video in this series, we're going to be getting into the background of the Lord's Prayer. So, when you first see it in the Bible, it's actually in Matthew chapter 6. It's part of this sermon that Jesus preached called the Sermon on the Mount, which is quite possibly the most important sermon that anybody has ever preached in their life. It's the most important sermon ever. It talks about love, it talks about prayer, it talks about loving your enemies and like all these different amazing topics that Jesus wants us to know about. And so when he talks about prayer, he talks about the Lord's Prayer. This is the very first time we see it. And he tells us in Matthew chapter 6, when you pray, I don't want you to pray like the Pharisees pray. Because when they pray, they go out into the street, they fast for days and days and days before, so they look super skinny and their faces are sunken in, and like they just look somewhat unwell, and they go on these long rants, like outwardly shouting to God in the middle of the street so that everybody can see them. And he says, that's not the way that, like, I want you to do this. That's not what prayer is about, because prayer is about being able to talk with God and having this one-on-one relationship with God. And so when you pray, don't run out into the street and shout at the top of your lungs. Don't do anything that's going to make somebody, like, obviously look at you and say, "Oh, they're praying to God," like these hooty-tooty people. He's saying, because your relationship with God is private, I want you to go out in private. Go to your bedroom, close the door, shut the windows. Make it to where it is a space for just you and God. Make it a very private and intimate moment with just you and God talking to each other and saying everything that you need to say to him. And likewise, like you shouldn't be going and making a big show of your prayer like some hypocritical people are. Like, you don't need to ramble on and say a lot of words, because God already knows you and he knows what's in your heart and he knows what you need. And so you don't need to give this big old long spiel to God, because he already knows you. He knows what's in your heart. And so these are the words that I want you to say. Like, and he goes on to say the Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation. Wow, I messed that up. I'm sorry. But still, like, you can find it in the Bible, and I highly recommend that you memorize it, because it's a really good prayer. It's the prayer that Jesus taught his people to pray to God. And this is a very special prayer that we get to pray together as a church, whether we do it like literally together in the church setting, or if you say it alone in your bedroom with your door closed and your window closed. like, you're still praying this prayer with the church because everybody in the church is praying this. And I think that's like one of the most amazing unifying fronts that we have right now, is that prayer that God himself has come down to earth and teach us all to pray. So, like I said, this is the first video in this series. Next week, we're going to start breaking down the Lord's Prayer and going over it line by line. And I'm super excited about that. I'm super excited for you guys to go on this learning journey with me. I love you guys, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.